Hi, Sexy Sassies, and welcome to another episode in the Feeding Your Sexy Body series. This is the third episode out of 4, and today we're going to do some talk about meal prep and meal planning and why it's so important. Of course, the most important part of all of this is that we need food and water to survive. And so with that, most of us are struggling with our busy lives to figure out how to best do that. So I'm going to go through some different tips, tricks, and pointers to help get you thinking about meal prep if you've never done it before, or also maybe a few ways to get better at it if it's something that you have done. So the first topic I want to cover with the meal prep is it saves money. And so how does it save money? So often we are rushing from place to place. At the end of the day, we will run home. Before we get home, we will stop at a fast food place, grab a meal, and if it's even 4 people now, that is not cheap. It's really expensive, and you're getting crappy food and eating it quickly. And also, you may be running to the convenience store. You stop to get gas in your vehicle or whatever. You run in, you're grabbing drinks, treats, snacks, and things that are, number 1, expensive, and number 2, just not good for you. If you think about meal prepping and knowing what you're doing and spending some time doing that, it actually will help you save a lot of money at the end of the day. A little exercise would be track for a couple weeks how much money you're spending extra, whether it's at the grocery store or at the gas station or at a convenience store or at a fast food restaurant, and see how much that adds up in a week. And my guess is you're going to be surprised how much money you're spending on all of these things. So that's definitely one advantage that helps to save money. Another way that we can save money is we can prepare things in bulk. For instance, what I love to do is I always meal prep on the weekend, usually on a Sunday afternoon unless I'm traveling or something. But I will make up a bunch of, if you eat meat, I will make up like a great big pot of marinara sauce. And you can do this if you're vegan without the meat, add other things in, or if you eat meat, you can prep a big batch of this and then put it in containers for the week, or you can make an even bigger batch and you can freeze some of it, which is amazing. When you buy things in bulk and you make them in bulk, you're saving a whole lot of money with different foods that you may purchase or prep or get ready. Salads too, if you're doing greens, you can get one of the big pound container of greens and divide that up into smaller containers. That goes a lot further than stopping at a restaurant and paying literally like $15 for a salad, and you're getting crappy ingredients usually that are not organic and just not that great. Another way to save money with meal prepping is to eat with the season. So what does that mean? Foods in season are cheaper. For instance, when fall comes around, that's a good time for apples, sweet potatoes, squashes, things like that, beets. In the summertime, we tend to go more after the lighter foods, the green beans, the melons, the berries. If we buy foods in season, we're going to save a lot of money by getting the foods that we enjoy. They're going to be fresher. Now, that doesn't mean that if you're shopping at one of the big box stores or going to Costco or the Co-op or wherever you go, that you're not going to be able to get food 12 months out of the year. You can. It's a good way to get your food a lot cheaper. So that also will help you to save money. Another way to help save money is it's always suggested, I guess, that we eat organic, but you know what? If you can't swing organic, then don't. It's important to just have foods that are healthy for us. So I would rather have you get a bag of apples that maybe aren't organic and go home and wash the peeling off, and eat that and have fruits and vegetables than not. So again, if you're shopping in season and you're getting food that isn't organic, it's not as expensive as what you would think, especially if you're cutting out all of the extra things that I'm guessing a lot of you are spending wasted dollars on. If you can get organic, great, and if not, that is okay. The last point that I wanted to talk about this is where you can go shopping. Now, depending on where you live, Aldi's is one of my favorite places to go, and there's nothing in this for me. I'm just sharing it because I like it. And back in the 80s when my kids were young and we were living literally paycheck to paycheck, and after bills were paid, we would see how much money we had left, and that was what we would go grocery shopping with. To have money left over was a big deal, and so we would go to Aldi's, and still they have good prices, good quality food, and now they've included a lot more organic produce and different foods at their stores. And I like what they're about, from at least what I've heard. Shop places where the food is cheaper. Costco, Sam's Club, again, you can get more bulk foods. It goes a lot further than if you're trying to just buy individual servings of things. So there's many different ways. Some of the foods that are just cheaper to purchase and buy. In our module that talks about feeding your sexy body, we go into a lot more detail about different foods, different ways to do this, the ones that are cheaper. So that's something to think about. The next topic I want to talk to you about is how this saves time. Because my guess is what you're going to say is, Dee, I don't have time. I'm already working, 10 hours a day, and then I've got the kids and I'm running around and there's already no time for me. I'm going to challenge you on that one. I want you to think on this, maybe do a little exercise on this, and notice how much time you're wasting in your day. Whether you're sitting on your phone, watching TV, numbing out, whatever it might be, get a little curious as to what you're doing, because the reality is, at the end of the week, I'm guessing you've got at least 2, 3, 4 hours of time that you could be investing into meal prepping, and then having all of that time left over at the end of the week or every day for you to do something self-care or something that you want to do. That's another part of being part of the community, is holding each other accountable, because sometimes I get caught up in that trap still once in a while, and then I come back to what's important and how I'm taking care of my body and noticing how I'm wasting time. That is one thing to take a look at. How much time are you wasting every day? So another thing that's really good about saving time with this is if you have a family, you can get them involved. They can be prepping, they can be cutting up some veggies or getting containers ready or whatever that you would want them to do. And then they're going to feel some pride in knowing that they were able to help you get food prepped. I generally like to prep on a Sunday afternoon, and back in the day when I was prepping for more than myself, or now prepping for myself, it takes about 2 hours, and that will get me through the entire week. And I mean eating well, where I can just grab stuff out of the refrigerator, take it to go, and or heat it up in the evening for my dinner. It didn't really take a whole lot longer with a family or by myself. One of the things I like about meal prepping is if you're by yourself, it's difficult to just buy things for one serving for one person. So if you meal prep, you're getting more bang for the buck because you can prep it and have several meals that go through the day and the week. If you have a family, it's great because then you can really do bigger batches and be good to go for the week. I mean, it's fun, like even if you make a bunch of chicken breasts, it's amazing what you can do with leftover chicken. You can, do chicken salad one night. You can put it into a soup. I mean, there's just a lot of different ways to work with different foods. So that's another way that it really helps to save time. And also, if you think about whether you're running to grab something at a fast food restaurant, or if you're coming home to prep a meal, how much time does that take just for dinner by itself to do all of that? I'm guessing minimum half hour. That doesn't include your breakfast, and that doesn't include what you do for lunch or snacks. So if you're prepping a couple hours a week and you're saving a minimum of an hour a day, think of the outcome on how much time you're having available per week by doing that, by committing that time and getting it done. You don't have all the dishes to be washing all the time and pulling everything out to re-prep it. When it's done, it is done. That's a big deal. And once you get in your flow with it, It's amazing how nice it is and how good that feels. So the last point I want to talk about today with meal prepping is better health. How? If you're not just grabbing food on the fly, and you actually prepare your food by maybe making up a meal plan or deciding what you want, you're going to go home and or pack foods that are healthy way more. That doesn't mean you don't grab a snack once in a while, but if you're just crazy hungry like I used to be when I would come home, I didn't care what I put in my mouth. I was hangry, and I would go after, obviously, probably sugar or salty, so some kind of chips or some kind of sweets, where now that I have the food prepped, it's literally a matter of 3 minutes, throw something in the microwave, heat it up, throw it on a plate, and once I start eating, then my needing to eat settles down and the hunger subsides, and then I'm good to go. It is way, way easier to manage your health when you have the food prepped by choosing what you want to have ahead of time. And then when you have a snack or a treat, it truly is a snack or a treat, and that makes a big difference. If you have a family, because I've talked about that in previous episodes, and they eat a lot more maybe junk food or different things that you want, having food prepped will also keep them more on track and probably make it easier not to have so much of that stuff in the house. I still recommend having it in a separate place though, where it's out of your way, where you don't have to worry about that. But the goal is to have better health, to eat the best way that we can. And knowing what we're putting in our mouths ahead of time is the best way, one of the best ways to do that. What's really important with all of this though, is that we have fun with it. It's really kind of amazing when you start to think about ways to do this, ways to get creative. And so it's important to have fun. It's important to find ways to give yourself more time in your life, because none of us have enough of that to do the things that we really enjoy or that we want to be doing. You know, do a little thinking on this. There's many, many, many different people that are online on YouTube that work with meal prepping. Do a little bit of browsing, look through it, see if there's people that you really like to follow, get some really cool ideas, and see how you feel as you start getting into this. This can work from the more elaborate people that like to cook, that want to go more all out, like Jennifer, my daughter, to the ones that are like, I hate cooking, I don't have time for it, where you can literally be throwing things, in a bag or in a lunchbox or in a container and just running and going. And every place in between, there's ways to make this work. And it pays off so much in the end. I will also put a couple of my favorite meal prepping links to YouTube down below as well, so you can take a look at that. Until next week, have an amazing, beautiful, sexy, sassy week. I hope you get a chance to at least start doing a little bit of contemplating and thinking about ways you can maybe do some meal prepping for you and or your family, and giving yourself some much needed time and space. So until next week, have a great week. Take care. Bye-bye.